Welcome to e-commerce psychology, the deep dive that gets you smart fast on what really drives your online customers. This deep dive is powered by Growth Suite. Growth Suite helps you run smart discount campaigns on your store. Test it for free on your Shopify store. Just land on the Shopify App Store now and test it for free. Now you're here to cut through the noise, grab those actionable insights. And today, we've got, I think, a really fascinating one.
Oh, yeah.
The door-in-the-face technique.
Ah, DITF, classic.
Right. Think of it as a potential way, maybe, to boost sales, upsell, cross-sell, but without being overly aggressive.
Exactly. And that's really our mission for this deep dive, isn't it? To kind of unpack this door-in-the-face strategy, DITF, and figure out how you, our listener, can actually use it.
Ethically.
Ethically and effectively, in your e-commerce world for those upsells and cross-sells.
And we're basing this on some solid research, right?
Yeah, we're looking at Mohammed Tufekhapan's article, Door-in-the-Face Strategy for Upselling and Cross-Selling E-commerce Psychology. It's pretty recent, March 2025.
Okay, so let's nail down the core idea. DITF. It's like this sequence.
That's it. You start with a big ask, something pretty substantial.
Something you actually expect them to say no to.
Pretty much, yeah. That's part of the plan. Then, almost immediately, you follow up.
Bam. Something smaller.
Smaller, more reasonable, and suddenly, that second request looks a whole lot more appealing.
It's interesting how just that sequence taps into, well, basic human psychology, right? To potentially boost revenue.
It really does. Especially today, everyone's bombarded with sales pitches. DITF feels a bit more subtle, maybe more conversational.
Okay, let's dig in then. The foundation. Where did this whole idea even come from?
Well, at its heart, it's a two-step persuasion technique. The big request is just the setup. The refusal is expected.
Right.
It's the second, smaller request where the real action is. Robert Cialdini, big name in persuasion psychology.
Cialdini, sure.
Yep.
Influence.
Exactly. His 1975 research really brought DITF into focus. He highlighted two main psychological drivers.
Which are...
Reciprocity and the contrast effect.
Okay, reciprocity and contrast. Let's break those down. How do they work in, say, an online checkout process?
Okay, reciprocity first. It's that feeling, when someone does something for you or makes a concession.
You feel like you kind of owe them one?
Exactly. So in DITF, when you, the seller, back down from that big initial request to a smaller one, the customer might subconsciously feel like you've compromised.
Ah, so you made a concession. Now they feel a little nudged to meet you halfway.
Precisely. It can create this subtle feeling of obligation to accept the second offer. It's a less hard sell, more human nature.
Okay, that makes sense. And the contrast effect, how does that play in?
So the first big request, even though it's refused, it sets an anchor, a reference point in the customer's mind.
Like a high price you see first makes other prices seem lower.
You got it. The second, smaller request isn't judged in isolation anymore. It's compared to that bigger first one.
And it automatically looks more manageable, more reasonable.
Much more. Could be price, could be effort, features. The contrast makes it seem like a better deal than if you just offered it straight up. It's all about the framing.
So you've got obligation from reciprocity and perceived value from contrast. Powerful combination. Where else has this shown up? Before e-commerce took over.
Oh, it's been around. Think about door-to-door fundraising. Ask for a big donation, get a no, then ask for just a small contribution. Often works better.
Right.
Or negotiations. Start with a high asking price, then concede to something lower. It's classic.
How does that translate online to upselling and cross-selling specifically?
It fits perfectly. For upselling, getting someone to buy a better, maybe more expensive version, you could show the absolute top tier, all the features product first, high price. If they hesitate, maybe click away.
You offer the next step down. Still an upgrade, but less daunting.
Exactly. That middle option now looks like a smart, reasonable compromise because of the contrast with the super premium one.
Okay, been cross-selling. Those little add-ons.
Same logic. Maybe you first offer a big bundle, the camera plus 3 lenses, the bag, the tripod, the whole kit.
Big price tag.
Right. If that's too much, your follow-up is maybe just offering one essential accessory, like the memory card or that one extra lens they seemed interested in.
So it feels much smaller, much easier to say yes to compared to the big bundle they just rejected.
Precisely. And you can build this into website flows, email sequences, recommendations. It's quite flexible.
And the business payoff, is it just about getting a sale or does it actually move the needle on revenue?
It can definitely move the needle. The goal is often higher conversion rates on that second offer compared to just offering it alone.
More people saying yes to something.
Right. And often that something is still an upsell or a cross-sell, which boosts your average order value. It's about framing the offer you want them to accept so it feels more attainable.
Okay, that sounds promising. Is there solid proof this works, like actual numbers? What's the business case?
Yeah, research backs it up. Some studies show compliance rates. People saying yes to the second request after refusing the first can jump significantly, maybe even up to 37% higher than just asking for the small thing outright.
Wow, 37% is not insignificant.
Not at all. And think long term. If you use DITF effectively, it can lead to customers spending more on average over time. It might even strengthen the relationship.
How so? Strengthen the relationship.
Well, if it's done right, the customer might feel like you listened, like you offered a reasonable alternative instead of just pushing the expensive thing. It feels less pushy.
So it gives them a sense of control. They got to say no first.
Exactly. They exercise choice. And that can make them feel better about the final yes. It differentiates your brand, maybe makes it seem more flexible, more customer-focused.
Okay, I'm sold on the potential.
Yeah.
Let's get deeper into the why. We touched on reciprocity and contrast, but what else is going on psychologically?
Well, let's revisit reciprocity. That feeling of obligation is key. When you lower your request, it feels like a gift, a concession. And social norms kind of pressure us to return favors, to reciprocate concessions. Refusing the second, smaller offer after the seller already compromised can feel uncomfortable, maybe even a bit guilt-inducing for some.
Ah, interesting. So the initial request needs to be believable, though, right? Not completely ridiculous.
Absolutely crucial. It has to be large enough to likely be refused, but still seem like a somewhat legitimate offer within the context. If it's just absurd, it breaks the spell, it feels manipulative.
Got it. Large, but relevant. And the contrast effect, how does that really change perception?
It's like adjusting the lighting. That first big request acts as that anchor, that reference point.
The $200 subscription you mentioned earlier.
Right. When the $50 plan appears right after you've mentally processed the $200 one, the $50 feels dramatically smaller, less burdensome. Its perceived cost or commitment shrinks purely by comparison.
It recalibrates their sense of what's reasonable in that moment.
Precisely. Are there other psychological gears turning here?
Well, there's also commitment and consistency. It's another Cialdini principle, actually.
Okay. How does that fit? Even though the customer said no initially, they haven't disengaged entirely. They're still interacting with you, with the offer.
Still in the conversation.
Right. And people generally have a desire to appear consistent. Saying no and then immediately saying no again might feel, well, inconsistent with being a cooperative person. Accepting the second, smaller request allows them to maintain a sense of consistency. Okay, I couldn't do the big thing, but I can do this.
Huh. That's subtle. It's not just about the offers, but about how they see themselves in the interaction.
Exactly. And don't forget emotions.
How do emotions play into accepting or rejecting these offers?
Saying no to that first big request might bring a mix of things. Maybe slight guilt, maybe relief. But then the second, more reasonable offer lands.
And that triggers.
It could trigger relief again, but this time maybe positive relief. Oh, this I can manage. Or satisfaction at finding a solution. There's also the desire to maintain a positive self-image. We generally want to be seen, even by ourselves, as reasonable and helpful. Saying yes to the smaller offer helps preserve that image.
Fascinating how these different psychological threads weave together. Okay, let's make this super concrete. How does this look in practice for upselling and cross-selling online? Give us some clear examples.
Okay, upselling. Imagine you sell software. A potential customer is looking at your basic plan. Using DITF, you might first prominently display the ultimate enterprise plan. All the features, highest price. Maybe they interact with it, but don't add to cart.
Then what?
Then, perhaps through a pop-up or a dynamic content block, you present the Pro plan. It's still an upgrade from Basic, has more features they might want, but it's significantly less expensive than Ultimate.
So compared to Ultimate, Pro suddenly looks like the sensible value-packed choice.
Exactly. Or hotels. Offer the presidential suite first. When they balk, offer the deluxe room with the nice view. It's still an upsell from the standard room they might have initially considered.
I can see that. How about cross-selling with DITF?
Let's say someone adds a nice pair of running shoes to their cart. Your first cross-sell attempt, maybe at checkout, is a big runner's performance bundle. Includes premium socks, hydration belt, GPS watch, foam roller. Quite expensive.
Probably a no for many.
Probably. So when they decline that bundle, your immediate follow-up offer is just the pair of premium running socks.
Much smaller commitment, directly related, seems cheap compared to the bundle.
You got it. It feels like an easy add-on after considering and rejecting the much larger package. Increases average order value, feels fair.
It really hinges on getting that sequence right. What are the absolute must-dos when designing this?
Okay, 3 key things. 1, offer setup. The first request needs to be significant, likely to be refused, but relevant. Don't offer skis to someone buying a swimsuit.
Makes sense. Keep it related.
2, immediate follow-up. The second, smaller request needs to come quickly after the first refusal. While that first request is still fresh in their mind, maximize that contrast effect.
Don't wait too long.
Right. And 3, contrast strength. The second offer has to be clearly, noticeably smaller or simpler. If it's only a tiny bit less, the effect weakens considerably. It needs to feel like a real concession.
Big but relevant, quick follow-up, clear difference.
Got it.
Done right. It sounds like it could actually feel helpful, not pushy.
That's the goal. A genuine concession, a helpful alternative.
All right, let's get tactical. Implementation in digital marketing. Where do you start? Email.
Email is a great place for BITF. You can structure a campaign around it.
How?
Send an initial email featuring, say, your most comprehensive service package or a high-value product bundle. Expect lower conversions on this one. That's okay.
Because it's the setup.
Exactly. Then, a few days later, segment out those who didn't bite, send them a follow-up.
With a smaller offer?
Yes. Offer a discounted version, a scaled-down package, or a popular mid-tier option. And the language matters.
Like what?
Something like, we saw you were interested, but maybe the full package wasn't quite right. Here's a more focused option. Acknowledge the first offer.
And personalization must be key here, too.
Oh, definitely. Segment your list. Maybe offer bigger initial asks to your loyal, high-spending customers and slightly less ambitious ones to newer subscribers. Keep it relevant.
Okay, email makes sense. What about integrating it right into the website experience?
Lots of possibilities there. Pop-ups are one. Maybe an exit intent pop-up. Someone's leaving a product page for an expensive item.
You hit them with the DITF sequence.
Mm-hmm.
Big offer. Then, if they hesitate or close it, a smaller related offer.
Could work. Or on the checkout page itself, you try the big upsell first, add the 3-year warranty, they decline. Immediately offer the 1-year warranty instead.
Or a smaller cross-sell.
Right. If the deluxe accessory kit is a no, maybe just offer the essential cable they'll need. It's about designing that interactive flow, that digital conversation.
A dynamic journey based on their clicks. How about social media ads? Can you do DITF there?
You can, especially with retargeting. Run an initial campaign for your top-tier product. Broad reach, maybe. Then, create a custom audience of people who clicked or engaged but didn't buy. Retarget them with ads for the more accessible second-tier version.
Ah, so the sequence happens over time through ad exposure.
Exactly. The first ad sets the anchor. The retargeting ad presents the more reasonable alternative. You can even use visuals to enhance the contrast between the ads.
Clever. But you'd need to track this carefully.
Absolutely. Measuring ROI, testing ad creative, refining the targeting, it's crucial for making social DITF work.
Which brings us to measurement. You've set up these DITF flows. How do you know if they're actually effective? What KPIs matter most?
Well, the obvious one is the compliance rate on that second offer. What percentage of people who refuse offer #1 accept offer #2? That's your direct DITF measure.
Okay, what else?
Compare your overall conversion rates. Does a page using a DITF sequence convert better overall, even if it's the second offer being accepted, than a page just showing the smaller offer directly?
Right, the net effect.
Average order value, definitely. Is DITF leading people to accept upsells or cross-sells they otherwise wouldn't have, boosting the total cart value?
And customer lifetime value or retention.
Good point. You need to track if these customers stick around. Are they happy, or did the process feel weird? Monitor churn rates for cohorts exposed to DITF.
So, multiple angles to track.
Yeah.
How do you actually test different DITF approaches?
A/B testing is fundamental. Set up 2 versions of a page or email sequence. Group A sees the DITF sequence, big ask, nay, small ask. Group B sees only the small ask.
And compare the results for the small ask conversions between the 2 groups.
Exactly. That tells you if the initial big ask actually increased acceptance of the small ask. You can also use multivariate testing.
How's that different?
Multivariate lets you tweak multiple elements at once. Maybe test different sizes of the first request. Is a really big request better or worse than a moderately big one? Test different timing for the second offer. Test different phrasings.
To find that optimal DITF recipe, that sweet spot for the initial refusal.
Right. Too big might seem offensive or irrelevant. Too small, and it won't be refused often enough, or the contrast won't be strong enough. It's a balance.
Can website analytics tools help understand how users are interacting with these offers?
Oh, for sure. Things like heat maps show you where people are clicking, or maybe hovering hesitantly over the no thanks button on the first offer.
See where their attention goes.
Session replays are amazing too. You can literally watch recordings of user sessions to see how they navigate the sequence. Do they look confused? Do they scroll past quickly?
Wow, that's like looking over their shoulder.
It gives you qualitative insights to pair with your quantitative data like conversion rates. Helps you understand the why behind the numbers and refine the user experience.
Okay, we've covered a lot. Implementation, measurement. But what about the ethics? This feels like it could be misused.
That's a critical point. It absolutely can be misused, which is why ethical considerations are paramount.
So what's the main principle? Transparency.
Transparency is huge. Both offers, the big one and the small one, need to represent genuine value. You shouldn't artificially inflate the price of the first offer just to make the second one look like a massive discount. That's deceptive.
Integrity in pricing.
Yes, the customer should feel like both options were legitimate considerations, even if the first was a stretch.
What else? What about respecting their choice?
That's the other key piece. Balancing persuasion with user autonomy. The customer always has the right to say no, even to the second offer.
So don't keep throwing fallback offers at them if they decline the second one.
Exactly. Bombarding them with offer after they've already said no twice is just going to lead to frustration, annoyance, and probably them leaving your site. DITF should feel like a polite suggestion, a potential alternative, not a high-pressure tactic.
Respect the no.
Okay.
Have you seen examples of companies using this well? Any case studies?
Yeah, you see DITF principles, maybe not always explicitly named that, in various industries. The hospitality industry is a good example.
Hotels.
Yeah.
Restaurants.
Both. Hotels often try to upsell you at check-in. Maybe they first offer the huge suite. If you decline, they might then offer a room upgrade to a slightly larger room or one with a better view for a smaller additional fee.
Still an upsell, but feels more manageable after hearing the suite price.
Right. Restaurants might do it with specials. Pitch the elaborate, expensive, multi-course tasting menu first. If there's hesitation, the server might then highlight a specific, less expensive signature dish or a recommended wine pairing as an alternative add-on.
The difference needs to be big enough to matter, but the second offer is still attractive.
Exactly. E-commerce does this all the time, too. Fashion retailers. Complete the look with this $500 curated outfit bundle. No. Okay, how about just adding this matching $80 scarf?
Or electronics warranties.
Classic example. Offer the comprehensive 3-year premium warranty first. If declined, immediately follow up with the more basic 1-year plan or perhaps just accidental damage coverage.
And SaaS platforms, software as a service.
Definitely. Trying to convert free trial users. First, pitch the all-inclusive top-tier enterprise plan. If that's a no-go, offer the pro or business plan with key features at a lower price point. Or offer a limited paid tier instead of pushing straight to the full premium version. It keeps them engaged, potentially moves them into a paying tier.
So it's really adaptable across different business models. Looking ahead, where do you see this technique going? Any future trends?
I think AI-driven personalization is the big one.
How would AI change DITF?
Imagine AI analyzing a specific user's browsing history, purchase patterns, maybe even their demographic data, in real time. It could then calculate the optimal big request, most likely to be refused by that specific individual, followed by the alternative most likely to appeal to them.
Hyper-personalized DITF sequences.
Wow,
Right.
exactly. Tailoring the contrast and concession dynamically for each user.
What about integration with newer technologies, like AR or voice?
Good question. You could see it in AR shopping experiences. Try on a virtual high-end outfit. If you don't add it to your cart, the system suggests slightly less expensive, but complementary virtual items.
A virtual DITF stylist.
Sort of. Or voice commerce. Imagine asking your smart speaker to order something. It might first suggest a premium subscription bundle. You say, no thanks. It immediately replies, okay, how about the standard plan for just? It translates quite seamlessly.
The core principle remains the same, just deployed through new interfaces.
That's the beauty of these fundamental psychological principles. They adapt.
This has been incredibly insightful. Let's try to boil it down. If someone wants to start using DITF effectively and ethically, what are the absolute core principles they need to keep in mind?
Okay, 4 things. 1, contrast is key. Make the difference between the offers clear and meaningful. 2, maintain genuine value. Both offers should be legitimate and fairly priced.
Right.
3, respect user autonomy. Make no a valid option without penalty or pressure. 4, refine with data. Test, measure, use analytics, and adapt your strategy based on what works for your audience.
Contrast, value, respect, data. And the long-term prize, if you do this well.
You're potentially training your customers to see your brand as flexible, fair, and understanding. They might appreciate having the choice, the chance to decline the big thing, but still find something that works.
Which builds loyalty.
Exactly. It can boost loyalty, encourage positive reviews or referrals, and build lasting relationships because it feels like you respect their budget and preferences rather than just maximizing the immediate sale.
So the door-in-the-face technique, it's really this powerful blend of psychology, leveraging reciprocity and contrast to make that second, smaller offer more appealing after the bigger one gets turned down.
Yeah, when used thoughtfully, it can be a valuable tool in the e-commerce toolkit.
But the ethical implementation, the testing, that's absolutely crucial.
Couldn't agree more.
Okay, here's a final thought for you, our listener, to take away. How might you ethically apply this principle? Think about offering a choice, a received concession. What bigger ask could you start with, relevant to your customer, that naturally opens the door to a more reasonable solution you genuinely believe is a great fit for them?
Food for thought.
Definitely. This has been e-commerce psychology, and remember, this deep dive was powered by Growth Suite. Growth Suite helps you run smart discount campaigns on your store. Test it for free on your Shopify store. Just land on the Shopify App Store now and test it for free. Thanks for tuning in.